Welcome to Sober.Coffee, a weekly coffee chat sharing experience, strength, and hope for anyone on the sober road to recovery. You can download Sober.Coffee weekly on all podcast platforms and check us out on Instagram at Sober.Coffee Podcast and on Twitter at Sober.Coffee Pod. To learn more about us and to help support these sessions, visit online at Sober.Coffee. Here are your hosts, two guys on their own path to recovery, Mike and Glenn. Let's join them at the coffee shop.
Good morning, Glenn.
What's up, man? I'm so excited. I'm sitting up in my chair.
I know.
Get ready. Chills are already starting.
We usually go back and tell people how to get in touch with us.
It doesn't matter. Just find us somewhere. We're out there somewhere.
Find us somewhere, yeah. And if you got an issue, you got a question, you got a topic idea, podcast at Sober.Coffee.
Right. Beyond that, man, we're out there somewhere.
We're out there.
So
yes.
we normally banter and talk about how much coffee we've drank. Let's get right into it.
Right, because last week
let me set the stage, man.
Right.
I'm so excited. So I was out in California, and I'm working on this recovery project, right? It's in stealth mode. And so we had our team out there, and we were on the beach, went to a beach meeting, felt really important to go to a beach meeting. And so we sit down, of course, we were trying to find the meeting at the right lifeguard stand. And so I sit down, and, one or two guys shared, and then this guy, Erryk, started sharing. And I'm telling you, I know when I'm in the right place and I'm hearing the right message, I get chills. Mm-hmm. And that's just kind of my awareness alarm, if you will. And this dude was talking, and I mean, he was talking to my soul, and he was just kind of sharing. Guy's name's Erryk. He's back on with us today. We had him on
last week, right?
If you didn't listen to last, you got to start there. He set everything up, right? And then his internet went bad, and so part two, right? And so maybe there's a part three, Mike. I don't know. But really happy to have Erryk back. Dude, appreciate Erryk's out in California, so it's like 5 a.m. out there. But that just shows his dedication. But Erryk, what we'd like to do, if I could set this up, and maybe I'm trying to catch lightning twice, right? But I'm still going to try. That's hard, but I'm still going to try. When I sat down, Erryk went on just a roll, just from his heart about his commitment to AA and where his life is today. So just to paint a quick picture, the last episode was all about pain. Right? Pain brought us up to the point. So what we like to do is talk about experience, strength, and hope. So Erryk really outlined experience. So today we're going to start in the strength part, the AA part, and then the hope part. And dude, you spoke from the heart. I know you didn't pull out your notes on the beach and read it from. So it's just, we're just going to bounce it to you and just say, hey, you're in AA, you're working the steps, you went through unbelievable pain to get to the what did you do part, and then what's it doing for you, and then give hope for somebody that's in the same spot that you were in.
Yeah. Wow, man. Thank you guys for having me again. It's an honor. They say you never say no to an AA commitment, and I stand on that today. I'll tell you guys this, is that when I got to that place, that jumping off point, that surrender point, where, I realized, and it says it in the book, we had to make a decision. There was a crossroads. One was to go on to the bitter end, and the other's to accept spiritual help, paraphrasing, obviously. And I did just that. I realized that I didn't want to suffer anymore. I was defeated, and I started taking the action, right? I started to take all the suggestions that people with long-term quality sobriety have been saying in the circles of Alcoholics Anonymous for many years. I heard it, I wanted what they had, but I just didn't get to that point where the willingness, started to take root and then start to reap the rewards of the promises of Alcoholics Anonymous. When I started doing that, the first thing I did, man, was I opened up the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I found myself in the doctor's opinion. I checked off all the boxes, and then I had to, it says on the coin, to thine own self be true. And I had to realize, that I had a thing that, doctors call alcoholism. And that's where like, my first steps started to take root. I was powerless, and I wanted to start to get these rewards, but in order to do that, I had to continue on with the steps. It's been such a journey. Looking back now, almost a year and a half later, like where I am today and where I was at then, it's night and day. God has done for me what I can't do for myself. I realized that I was insane, because I took stock at my life, my behaviors, and the choices I had made. And I realized that something bigger than me could help me. I jumped right into, giving my life over to this care of God as I understood him. And, and that those three, 1, 2, and 3, together, woven super tight, was allowed me to start to get the courage to take that inventory that Bill Wilson talks about. It's a vital and crucial step, it says, and how true it is. Because if I look back at my life and the many, many, many times that I tried to, to get this thing, God, I started thinking about the 1-4 step that I did with a sponsor, and we went down to do a 5th step, and I had 10 things on there, 10 people, and he's like, "Is that it?" I'm like, "That's it, man." And the reality was that was not it at all.
Right.
That was not it at all. But bless his heart, because he meets, I'm a firm believer, because I sponsor guys, that, you meet people where they're at. And, you can't force someone to, you can't pry stuff out of them. But we went through the process, and, lo and behold, I got drunk. And it continued that cycle, and that vicious cycle that Bill talks about in the book. And but I did it this time. I got the courage from God, right? Because I had to lean on something bigger than myself to muster the courage within myself to do the hard stuff. And on the other side of that, was a freedom that I have today that, no money can buy. A peace today that no money can buy. And it's absolutely indescribable. People come up to me and they ask me, they're like, "Dude, you're so happy, you're so peaceful, you're so positive. What's going on?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm not special. I'm not some special dude, right? I just did what was suggested in the book. I came to that jumping off place where I didn't want to suffer anymore. I wanted the peace, because I'm a firm believer, man, that alcoholics, man, we want good in our life. We want peace in our life. We don't want to be stuck and shackled to this perpetual pain and suffering, that inner turmoil. And I tell them, man, all you have to do is just do the stuff to suggest you. I had to take myself out of the equation, and just say "Hey, look, man, you guys think for me, my sponsor, you tell me what to do. You suggest what I should do." And my sponsor just outlined it just like it's in the book. Just follow this stuff. We will go through it just like they went through it. And on the other side of that was a freedom that I can't tell you. I just can't tell you. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It's absolutely beautiful. I like to think sometimes what, God, I wish I would have done it then. I wish I would have done it then. And
right.
I would have blown through 35 years of my life, completely wrecked and torched the earth. But the reality is that God gets you there when God gets you there. I'm a big believer in, all the different times that my God, my creator, had gotten me to a point where I could pivot to AA, all these crossroads, right? And, I got to a point where I finally realized, that I pivoted, at that conversion point that Bill talks about. There was a conversion point for me, and I haven't stopped. I do exactly the same thing every single day that I've done since day one. I roll out of bed, I hit my knees, I read some pages, I go to meetings, I have a home group. I got commitments. You know, I help other people. You know, I work in treatment. It's a life I wouldn't change today. You know, but I got to say this for the listeners and people who might be new. You know, all I got is a fucking daily reprieve contingent upon my spiritual maintenance, right? And that's a crucial part, because cunning, baffling, and powerful is the disease of alcoholism. And I could start thinking to myself, you know what? I don't need meetings. I don't need to read the book. I don't need to help people. You know, I don't need to pray. You know, this is more important. That is more important. And the next thing you know, I'm running on self-will, man. And when I'm running on self-will, I'm super fucked, because the drink starts thinking like a drink starts, you know, God, it's so gnarly. Starts thinking like it's a good.
All right. So Erryk, I'm going to feed. So thank you so much for letting. Let me fire off some questions.
Yeah, please.
You know,
I'm sorry, I went on a tangent, man.
No, dude, that's exactly. First of all, I'm going to ask you some really pointed questions, because I have a feeling that you aren't going to shape the answer, right? That you are going to give it the way you feel it. So, what do you say to people? And I'm teeing you up with some of these. So I'm going to tell you, what do you say to people that say, dude, AA doesn't work?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's.
God, I wish I had your
just
face.
That face, yeah, right.
It was great.
So he's like, oh, God.
You know, it's so crazy. It's a great question. Look, I had a guy that came in to treatment, and I met him. I sat down with him. I think he was on like day 2. And I sat down with this guy, and it was crazy. He said to me, I had my big book in my hand, sat down with him, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And basically he said this, after we kind of talked for a little bit. He said, so you're telling me that this book is going to save my life? And I said, I go, bro, here's the deal. I go, what other option do you really have right now?
Right.
You know, what other fucking option do you have right now? I go, I can empathize where you're at, right?
Yes, you can, because you've been there.
I go, I can empathize where you're at. You're confused, you're lonely, you're scared, you know. Oh, I'm not scared. I'm like, bro,
I'm
okay.
tough.
I go, that's okay too. You know, I was there too. I get that. I go, but here's the deal. I go, I didn't think it would work either, but I wanted it to work. Right? It's like you're in that fucking that crazy gray area where like you want to like, okay, you're saying it's work and like I'm gonna do it, but then you're like your ego. I like to think it's the ego, man, because there's some sort of like ego piece in there that's saying like I can do this on my own. I can figure it out on my own. And to the people out there that might be thinking that it doesn't work, you know, Bill's very clear in the book about this. You know, if you don't think it's going to work and you think you can figure it out on your own, then just stop drinking for a year. You know, if you think you can do it on your own,
then do it.
Drink a person, right? To go into a bar and have a couple drinks. Do that a few times.
Love it.
Yep.
Love it.
That's excellent. All right. So some of these may come rapid fire for you, right? Okay. So when I saw you at the meeting, right, it seemed like you had some bros around you, right? So what does nobody does this in AA by themselves, right? So what does your sober circle look like, or your sober posse, or whatever word you want to use? What does your sober brotherhood, how many people do you have in your phone that you can call at 2 a.m?
I have, I got about 7 or 8 guys solid.
Core guys.
Now I'm going to say 8 guys solid that I can call at any time of day or night that will pick up that phone.
Okay. Now, okay. So when they do that, when you call and ask for help, right, and they help, how do you pay them for that help? How do you repay them for them helping you? Because society, our lives are
transactional,
tit for tat, right? If I do this for you, you do. So if they give into you and give into you, what's in it for them?
You know, it's they're getting out of themselves, man.
Yeah.
They're you know, for you know, if I'm calling them, or someone's calling me, or if I'm helping somebody, it's like I'm not thinking about me, right? I'm thinking about, like, what's going on in their life. And I think that's the piece, right? That's the giving back. Like, I mean, I like to always take it back to the book, man. I know that you're going to be throwing some more questions at me, if I may. Like when Bill is pacing back and forth in the hotel.
Yep.
Right? He needs to talk to another alcoholic. And when he sat down with Dr. Bob, right? It's like he wasn't tripping anymore. Like he was helping someone else. So he wasn't worried about his situation. He had that whole business deal that went south. He was broke. Him and Lois were like, they didn't know where they're going to live. It was a whole thing. And so to answer your question is, like, when they're helping me, they're not thinking about themselves. And when I'm helping somebody, I'm not thinking about myself. That's that selflessness piece, right? That's that giving back, to your point. That's
all right. So just to clarify, there's no scorecard. There's no transaction invoice that you're given and say, hey, man, you took an hour of my time. You owe me this, right?
Nothing.
Isn't that one of the magic parts of AA?
It's it's magic. Great word, man. It's
the miracle.
That's that feeling. I get a feeling like when I'm helping other people, man, it's like, and when I see the lights turn on somebody, right? Or I get them through a hard time, or they get me through a hard time, there's the bonding gets stronger. There's a stronger bonding between the brotherhood, right?
I love it, man. And I could tell you had some brothers there. So, all right, let me shift gears. And I just want to paint a picture here for everybody. First of all, Erryk is high energy. If you guys haven't realized that, Mikey's on the edge of his chair. I've never seen Mikey lean up like this before. I'm on the edge of my chair getting chills. So let me ask you this. We throw out a lot of words, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of times, especially early on, people don't have definitions, right? Mm. So you've used the word peace. Mm. How do you define peace?
Wow, man.
What does that look like? And I'll let you think about that, because I saw you look up a little bit. So let me the way I was 2 or 3 years sober, and I was in my bedroom one night, and I'm grinding it out. Erryk, I'm just like trying to get through the day, man. I was in AA and going to the steps, and sometimes I would go to sleep at 4 o'clock just so I could finish the day without drinking, and
4 p.m., not 4 a.m.
Yeah, 4 p.m. And there was a snippet of time where the sun was setting outside, and there was a snippet in time where everything in my life for 5 minutes felt okay.
Right.
And that was like the first time in my life that I ever felt that. And I said to myself, I think that is peace. Mm. And then after 5 minutes, I'm getting chills, man, because it means so much to me. And after 5 minutes, all the wave and crap went. And what I told myself, what I schooled myself, I said, Glenn, keep doing what you're doing. Keep on this path. If you do, I believe that snippet will come back. Yeah. Now, it took months for it to come back. And now I probably get that snippet once or twice a week. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a chaotic life, and life is still life, and, but I get, especially in the morning with my car. So I'll bounce it back to you. How do you define peace? Is it similar, or do you have a different definition?
I mean, it's right there. Peace to me is being okay in my skin, right? It's, peace to me is loving myself today, because I know what it feels like to not love myself. Peace to me today with Alcoholics Anonymous and being sober today is having a connection with my God, and knowing that no matter what's happening in my lifey situations, from one moment to the next, everything's going to be okay. It's that inner peace in my core is knowing that I can continue to go on my path, whether it's the highs or the lows or the bumps or whatever, and make the right decision that's going to either help somebody else or allow me to learn a lesson, or the big one is to just be grateful that I have situations to make good choices in. In the past, I couldn't do that. Choice was taken out of me. So peace to me today is knowing that I got different choices, and I have enough sobriety, and I've done enough work to know that the choices that I make are definitely going to be whether I get to hold on to the peace or not. And
excellent. So are you perfect today?
Fuck no.
Okay, love it. But
I think we just named our episode.
Fuck no. But I think my view from my bleacher seat with you is you are really comfortable with who you are today.
100%.
So let me ask you my next question. What role, if any, does God play in that?
Everything. It's everything. God is everything for me today, man.
What does God do for you?
What's God do for me?
Yep.
He allows me to be humble. He allows me to be compassionate. He allows me to persevere. He allows me to be strong and courageous. My God allows me to do all the things that I never could do on my own. Because, like, if God wasn't in my life, I don't believe God was never left me. But we're a human being, man. We have this human experience, and if we didn't have the human experience in general, we'd just be robots. So God allows me to circumnavigate this life experience in a way that is enjoyable today, right? Happy, joyous, and free, right? That's what God and AA woven tight, man. Like, one without the other does not work, for my experience.
Yep.
For me.
Yep. All right. So, question on God. There are. Well, before I get to that one, and I'm sorry, man. I'm like rapid fire interview. I'm just like so excited. Thanks again for jumping on. So this whole God thing, right? There are people. I mean, like me, right? When I came into AA, God didn't work, right? Mm-hmm. God was a judging, damning, just didn't work for me, right? What did you do, if anything, right, to find a God that worked for you?
That's powerful, man. I don't know how much time I got on this one, but I got.
You know what? Hey, you got 5 minutes max.
Okay, good. Okay, so like, I never was an atheist or an agnostic. I always believed that something bigger was happening, and Bill goes into it, and we agnostics about, like, the sunsets and the beautiful and all that. I had a spiritual experience, right? On my 5th day in treatment, I heard a voice that wasn't mine. Can you hear me now? A whole wave of life passed before me, blah, blah, blah. Can you hear me now? And then boom, I got willingness and all that stuff. But here's the thing with God for me, it's so gnarly. I'm going to get kind of teary-eyed, but I'm going to hold together.
It doesn't matter if you don't hold together.
No. I realized at that moment that something was happening to me that was of not my doing, right? That the willingness that I got and all the stuff that I had gotten was definitely a gift for something bigger than myself. The question was, for those people who don't think that God is real, is that what it was?
No, I'm just saying for people that say, yeah, that God's not real, or God's too judging and damning, doesn't, and this whole God thing doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is this, man, is like, I tell my guys that I sponsor, I tell them, like, look, man, the biggest miracle that's happening right now in your life is you're not drinking. That's something that, if you've gotten to a certain point in your life where you can't stop drinking and you're an alcoholic, or maybe you're a potential alcoholic or whatever, you're not drinking right now. You should be drinking because you're an alcoholic, but something bigger than you is not, is preventing you. And then I kind of go off the jumping point on there. I tell people, they told me to start getting on my knees and praying every single day. I had a lot of questions for God, man. Why is God, why are people starving in the world? Why is there dark things happening to children in the world? Why are there wars? Why is this? Why is this? Why is that? And, you know, I had to start to realize, man, that, you know, through constant prayer and meditation and doing all the stuff that was suggested, because I couldn't do it on my own. I had to have people tell me what to do. I started to realize, man, it wasn't my place to try to figure out God. It wasn't my place. Now, my human experience, I could, you know, I'll have a bunch of feelings about shit, right? But the reality was, in my tiny little human experience, it wasn't me to try to figure out the fucking creator of the universe. And when I started making that started jumping off from that point, I started to realize that everything that's happening is God's will, right? And all I got to do is show up and accept whatever the outcome is and keep on moving. So acceptance, right, of whatever situation was going on, right, was a big jumping off point for me with my God, with my relationship with my higher power, right? And not having expectations of things to go my way, right? All of that was a big jumping off point. So expectations, acceptance, and being able to realize, you know, take direction that's in the book, right? It's in the back of the book. It says that, you know what? We do the next right indicated step and we leave the results up to God. That's fucking hard to do, man, when you're sitting in some shit, right? But when I found, and I'm going to tie this to peace real quick, when I started doing that and just throwing my hands in the air and saying like, all right, fuck, I talk to my God knows my heart. And I actually talk to my God often like this. I'll say, what the fuck, God? Like, seriously? Right? Like, but then I get into action and I do the next right indicated step. And it says in the book, sometimes, you know, the baseline of situations with my relationship with God today is that sometimes I just have to accept whatever the fuck is going on and move on down the road, right? And then I look for the lesson, I look for the blessing, and if all that is still going on, that I'm feeling a turmoil, a humanness about whatever, I go out and help another alcoholic, because it says in the book, nothing can assure us, paraphrasing, our sobriety than extensive work with another alcoholic.
Amen.
And I do that.
You know, Erryk, I got to chime in. I've been.
I know, Mikey's over here so quiet, man. He's never quiet.
But I'm
sorry, man.
I'm dancing.
I'm driving the bus, man.
You know, you were here last week with us, right? And for anybody who just jumped on this week and missed last week,
go back and
here's
listen.
the thing. It's almost like we just met with two different guys, man. I mean, there was this guy that was so full of pain and just stuff in his life, man, and all that baggage. You didn't talk about any of that this week. And if people could have seen your face when you talked about your higher power and the smile, what defining that higher power and the smile and the body language.
So tell me it doesn't work this way, that the internet crashed right at the end of the pain.
Right.
And then the next time we get on it begins a solution, right?
It's almost like there's two different guys.
Man,
and that's the story
smart.
of my life too. I mean, I'm two different guys.
Yeah.
I would have been so doom and gloom, and there was so much in childhood trauma. I mean, I could have, like you did last week, I could have went on and on and on, and you probably left 80% on the table, on the cutting room floor. You didn't even. But look at you back. Look at how you have embraced this new way of living and appreciation for it. It's inspiring, dude.
Look at Mikey all fired up. Erryk, one last question just to close out. Again, thank you. Would love to have you on again if you're willing to get up, crack it on again. But hey,
I would love to, man.
One last question. What does your day look like today? What are you doing today? It's 6 a.m. now. Right now, it's 6 a.m. in California. What are you doing today?
All right, what am I doing today? Here's my day. When I'm done doing this with you guys, I'm gonna go back to my house.
Not jail.
My dog. I got a commitment. I'm a chairperson at my home group, so I got my home group meeting in the morning at 8 a.m. So we're gonna do that. I gotta come back. I gotta help out some of my roommates, do some chores around the house, and I'll probably train, exercise. I already just sent out my gratitude list to all my people.
Dude,
I've already prayed. I've already read. And then I got another meeting that I started. It's the meeting that you came to, the Sober Squad.
Yeah, you love it.
Yeah, I got that's happening. So I got to get there early and set up and get everybody, going on that. and then the end of the day, probably wind down, call some people, and then do it all over again, man. My day's jam packed.
That's fantastic, man. You're living sobriety. You're living sober. That's dude. Hey, Erryk, thanks so much, man,
Erryk,
for coming on. Your energy is just absolutely amazing. Just charges me and Mikey up.
Good stuff, brother.
Thank you. I look forward to having you on again, man. Have a great sober day.
Have a great one, man.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you,
man.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Thanks for joining us for today's coffee chat. To contact the show, email us at podcast@sober.coffee. If you need immediate help, the AA hotline is 800-839-1686. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 800-273-8255. Remember, Mike and Glenn are sharing their own journey on the path to recovery. Any suggestions, medical or otherwise, are their own experiences and should not be viewed as professional advice. See you next week, and remember, there is a solution.